General Hospital spoilers reveal that in the ever-evolving drama of General Hospital, the recent shifts in Drew's character have left fans unsettled. As what was once a man of honor is now a figure consumed by darkness. Drew, whose past was once marked by his desire for redemption and connection with his family, is increasingly becoming a person who no longer resembles the man viewers once knew. His transformation has been slow, but now it's undeniable, a deeply unsettling pattern of aggression, deception, and psychological turmoil is emerging, revealing a version of Drew that many never thought possible. Drew, once someone who fought to be a part of his family, now stands ready to harm his own blood, particularly his nephew. The change is stark, the difference between the man he was and the man he is becoming chilling. The first signs of Drew's unraveling came when he began to lose his grip on his emotions, something that had been a core part of his character. Drew's steady, calm and rational approach to problems began to give way to a simmering rage that he could no longer control. This anger, however, wasn't just a fleeting outburst. It was rooted in a deeper place, a place of unresolved pain, jealousy, and a growing sense of paranoia. As Drew grappled with the pain of losing his identity and the strain of rebuilding his life after all he had endured, it seemed as though his past began to haunt him in more insidious ways. Every unresolved issue, every forgotten memory, all of it weighed down on him, and it began to distort his perception of the world around him. One of the most pivotal moments in this transformation was when Drew's actions toward Danny escalated. The boy, who had once looked up to him as an uncle and a figure of stability, was now becoming a target of Drew's pent-up rage. Drew's jealousy toward the bond between Danny and others in the family festered into something darker. What was once a protective instinct toward Danny slowly warped into a possessiveness, and then into outright aggression. Drew's desire to be the one who mattered in Danny's life clouded his judgment, and he began to see anyone who threatened that position as an enemy. This culminated in Drew's decision to use force, to take drastic action against Danny, to prove that he could control what had once slipped through his fingers. Danny, still young and innocent in many ways, was caught in the crossfire of Drew's mental and emotional breakdown. Drew's actions weren't just about a desire to control, they were the manifestation of his fractured mind, a mind that no longer knew where to draw the line between love and possessiveness. The tension that had been building between Drew and Danny was compounded by another layer of complexity, the return of Jason. Jason, who had always been a part of Drew's life in one form or another. It didn't take long for Jason to realize that the man before him was not the Drew he had once known. Drew had changed, and not in a way that was redeemable. The Drew that Jason knew, the Drew that had once been his brother in all but blood, was now a stranger, a man whose actions were becoming more dangerous by the minute. Jason's discovery that Drew was no longer the same person he once was sent waves of disbelief and anger through him. How had it come to this? How had Drew? Jason's realization that Drew was not just struggling with his identity but was actively concealing his true self, a self that now seemed driven by darker. It was a full-scale unraveling of everything Drew had once stood for. The unsettling truth was now clear. Drew had become a man consumed by his obsessions. His fixation on Danny. Drew was becoming the kind of person he had always feared, someone willing to do anything to keep control, to assert dominance over those he believed he had a right to. The idea of Drew as a man who was truly lost to his obsessions took root in Jason's mind, and what was once a brotherly bond began to feel like a distant memory. The more Drew pushed the boundaries, the more Jason realized that Drew had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Jason's sense of betrayal was palpable. He had always thought of Drew as a brother, as someone who would never turn on him, never become an enemy. But now, Jason was faced with a painful truth. Drew was a stranger, a person whose actions were no longer guided by love or loyalty. They were driven by something much more sinister, something Jason couldn't fully comprehend, but something that made Drew dangerous. As Drew prepared to take more extreme measures to regain control over Danny and the family, Jason was forced to reckon with the fact that he might have to stop Drew, not as a brother, but as an adversary. The person he had once trusted had become a threat, and Jason knew that he could no longer afford to ignore it. He is dragging his family down with him, unraveling the ties that once held them together. The impact of his actions on Danny, on Jason, on those who once cared about him, is something that will echo for a long time. Drew's descent into madness and obsession is not just a personal tragedy, it is a tragedy for the entire family, one that will leave lasting scars. As the story unfolds, fans are left with one lingering question: can Drew be saved, or has he crossed a line from which there is no return? Is there any hope for the man who has lost everything, his identity, his family, his humanity? Or is he destined to be consumed by his own darkness, a shadow of the man he once was? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world of General Hospital will never be the same as long as Drew remains on this destructive path. Drew and Danny once shared a unique bond. A connection forged through blood and time that was once unshakable. But now, this connection has been completely erased, leaving nothing behind but a fractured relationship. The history between them. And a guide for Danny: now there is a stranger, a man whose actions are driven by obsession, control, and a growing sense of isolation. Drew's descent from the man he once was to the man he has become is not only heartbreaking but terrifying. Once driven by love and a desire for connection, are now twisted into something much more sinister. As he pushes Danny away, he simultaneously draws closer to a dangerous precipice, where his actions no longer have the capacity for redemption. The shift in their relationship is painful, and the consequences of Drew's choices will be felt for a long time. Danny, once a symbol of hope and family, is now caught in the crossfire of Drew's unraveling, an innocent bystander in a game he didn't ask to play. Jason, meanwhile, is using the stories of saving his son, of the lengths he would go to for family, to justify actions that only seem to push things further into chaos. Jason, ever the protector, finds himself in a complicated position. His attempt to shield those he loves has always been a guiding principle for him, but now, as he looks at Drew, he realizes that the man standing before him is no longer the brother he once knew. The man who once shared in the struggle to build a family and keep it intact has now become a threat to it. Jason's attempts to rationalize Drew's behavior, to explain it away with the context of their past struggles and his desire to protect those closest to him, only serve to mask the underlying truth: Drew has crossed a line. And there's no turning back. The power dynamics within their family are shifting, and Jason, for the first time, is no longer sure where he fits in. His sense of duty to protect his family now feels more complicated, more fraught with danger, as Drew's actions begin to unravel everything Jason has worked to keep together. One of the new forces of control that has emerged is Drew's increasing manipulation of the situation. What began as a desire for connection has now evolved into a need for dominance. To manipulate not only Danny but everyone around him. Drew's behavior is no longer just reactive, it's methodical, calculating, and deeply unsettling. He's trying to maintain control in a world that has left him behind, using whatever means necessary to ensure that he is at the center of it all. The problem is, the more Drew tries to control the situation, the further he pushes everything, and everyone, away. His increasing actions of dominance are driving a wedge between him and his family, and yet, Drew cannot see it. He is too far gone in his own obsession with power and control, with winning back something that was never his to control in the first place. These changes, these shifts in Drew's psyche, are not just impacting him. They are wreaking havoc on everyone around him. As Drew moves further down this path of manipulation, obsession, and darkness, his desire to keep control over his family, to maintain power over his relationships, is creating a volatile storm that no one can escape from. His actions are no longer just about his personal pain or struggles, they are about breaking the foundation of the family, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but destruction. What's most frightening is how Drew's transformation seems to be a slow, insidious process. It's not the sudden, violent outbursts that you'd expect from someone descending into madness. No. Drew's decline is more subtle, a gradual erosion of his moral compass, of his sense of right and wrong. Every action he takes, no matter how small, pulls him further from the man he once was. Drew is actively becoming someone else, someone much darker, much more dangerous. The Drew that Jason once knew is fading. replaced by a stranger who is willing to tear apart everything in his path to regain what he has lost. The realization hits Jason like a punch to the gut. And in its place stands someone who would sacrifice everything, even family, to reclaim a sense of control. Drew's obsession, his need for dominance, has begun to consume him. He has lost touch with everything that once made him human, and in doing so, he is becoming a mere shadow of himself. This is no longer about redemption or reconnection. It's about power. It's about a man who has completely lost his way, who has allowed his fears and his insecurities to define his actions, pushing him further into a corner where the only thing left is chaos. He is no longer just a man lost in the fog of his own mind. He is a man on a mission. A man who will stop at nothing to reclaim what he believes is his, no matter the cost. And as his obsession grows, so too does the realization that Drew has crossed a line from which there is no return. What began as a struggle for redemption has now become a battle for control, and in the end, it may be the family that pays the price for Drew's madness. The question remains, is there any hope left for Drew, or has he become a monster who will destroy everything he once held dear? Jason, in his relentless pursuit of the truth, is now following the cryptic information left behind by Sam before her death. The secret messages, veiled in mystery, serve as the key to unraveling the growing web of deceit surrounding Drew. With every step Jason takes, he feels the weight of Sam's final wish, to protect Danny from the dangerous truth that has been hidden for so long. The more he digs into Drew's past, the more Jason realizes that the man he thought he knew has become a shadow of his former self, a fraud, a liar. Drew's actions, which had once been motivated by a sense of family and redemption, protecting him from the reality that Drew is no longer the man he believed, is becoming all-consuming. In his quest to expose Drew's true identity, Jason finds himself immersed in a world of secrets and lies, where every revelation leads to another layer of darkness. Drew, the man who once fought for a place in this family, is now becoming a threat, and Jason must stop him before it's too late. But as he goes deeper, Jason realizes that the very fabric of their family is at risk, and the boundaries between loyalty, love, and betrayal are starting to blur. Jason's fixation on saving Danny is not just about protecting his nephew, it has become an obsession, a driving force that threatens to consume him. The more he uncovers, the more he is drawn into a psychological battle with Drew, a battle where every move could bring him closer to the truth, but also further from the family he has fought so hard to protect. With each new piece of evidence, Jason feels the pressure mounting, as though he is running out of time and options. Jason's quest for justice becomes more desperate, more dangerous. The very idea that Drew might be a fraud, a man wearing a mask, only deepens Jason's resolve to expose the truth. But in doing so, Jason may lose not just his brother but his family, and the price of uncovering the truth might be too high. As Jason closes in on the truth, the lines between right and wrong, loyalty and betrayal, begin to blur. His obsession with exposing Drew's deception is taking a toll, and the once clear-cut moral path is becoming increasingly murky. In the end, and the consequences of Jason's actions will change everything for the entire family. The new obsession that is emerging is not just about protecting Danny. It is about unraveling Drew's identity and facing the terrifying reality that Drew has crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. Jason's pursuit of the truth is pushing him into a dangerous mental state, and with each new revelation, he is becoming more entangled in the web of deceit that Drew has created. What started as a mission to protect his family has turned into an all-consuming obsession with exposing the truth, no matter the cost. As Jason's determination grows, so does the chaos that surrounds him, threatening to destroy everything he has fought for. The battle to uncover Drew's secrets is escalating, and the consequences of that battle are becoming more dire with each passing moment. Jason's journey, now deeply entangled in the mystery of Drew's deception, begins with an urgent sense of purpose. Following the trail of information Sam left behind before her death, Jason embarks on a mission to uncover the truth about Drew's identity. The cryptic messages Sam left are all that Jason has to guide him through the chaos that has enveloped their lives. What started as a desire to protect his family and restore some sense of order has evolved into something far more personal and dangerous. Jason's path is filled with darkness. With each piece of the puzzle he uncovers, the truth becomes more elusive, and the lines between right and wrong blur in ways he never imagined. Sam's final instructions echo in Jason's mind, a constant reminder that the stakes are higher than ever. She trusted him to protect Danny from the danger that lurks beneath Drew's false persona. Drew, once Jason's brother-in-arms, has now become a threat, an enigma that Jason cannot afford to ignore. Jason's overwhelming need to protect Danny from this threat fuels his every move. The more Jason realizes that Drew is not the man he once trusted, nor is he the man who once fought for their family. Drew's motivations, once rooted in a desire for redemption and a place within the family, have evolved into a twisted need for control. He is no longer the brother Jason once shared a bond with, but a man willing to do anything to maintain power, even if it means tearing apart the very family he once sought to protect. As Jason pushes forward, he becomes more isolated in his quest for the truth. The people around him, including his closest allies, begin to question his motives. His obsession with Drew's secrets begins to cloud his judgment, making him more reckless in his pursuit of answers. The lines between protecting Danny and exposing Drew's lies grow thinner, and Jason finds himself unable to distinguish where one ends and the other begins. What started as a mission to safeguard his family becomes a desperate, all-consuming need to uncover Drew's deception, even if it means risking everything in the process. Jason's obsession grows more dangerous with every new discovery. He is no longer merely investigating Drew, he is in a battle for control of his own mind. Drew's manipulation and the weight of Sam's death pushed Jason further into a psychological struggle he can no longer escape. His mind races, his emotions run wild, and with each new revelation, Jason feels himself sinking deeper into a state of madness. The more he learns about Drew's lies, the more Jason realizes how much of his own life has been manipulated, how Drew, eroding everything he thought he understood about Drew. And the consequences of this truth are not just about Drew, they are about Jason's own identity, his place within the family, and his role as protector. The obsession that has taken root in Jason's mind begins to overshadow his sense of morality. He is willing to do anything, sacrifice anyone, to expose the truth about Drew. The danger now is not just about Drew's deception, but about Jason's own unraveling. In his quest to save Danny, he is losing himself. His need for answers has become an obsession, one that is driving him to the brink of insanity. The deeper he goes, the more he alienates those around him, pushing away the people who could help him, and sinking further into the darkness. Jason's actions become more reckless as he becomes more desperate to find the truth. His interactions with his family, once full of love and support, become strained and full of tension. Every time he confronts Drew, every time he digs deeper into his past, Jason feels a little more lost. His determination to protect Danny, to uncover the truth, blinds him to the reality that the cost of this pursuit may be higher than he ever anticipated. The pursuit of truth has become a double-edged sword, and Jason is left struggling with the consequences of his choices. The more Jason unravels Drew's past, the more he comes to realize that Drew's actions are not just about maintaining a false identity. They are about control, control over his family, control over his own life, and control over the narrative that he wants to be true. Jason begins to see Drew as a puppet master, pulling the strings from the shadows, manipulating everyone around him for his own benefit. This realization causes Jason to question everything he once believed, to question his own role in the family. Drew has become a threat not only to Danny but to Jason himself. And the more Jason uncovers, the more he feels trapped in a web of lies and deceit. As Jason closes in on the truth, the situation grows increasingly dire. His obsession with saving Danny, exposing Drew's lies, and uncovering the secrets of the past begins to take a toll on his mental and emotional well-being. What started as a simple mission to protect his family has evolved into an all-consuming need to right the wrongs of the past. Jason finds himself questioning his own identity, his own motivations, and whether the truth is really worth the price he is paying. His obsession is no longer just about protecting Danny, it's about exposing Drew's deception, no matter what it costs. The lines between right and wrong, loyalty and betrayal, love and obsession, become increasingly blurred for Jason. The more he uncovers, the more he realizes that exposing the truth about Drew may not be the victory he had hoped for. Drew's lies have created a web so tangled that it threatens to consume everyone. And as Jason dives deeper into the darkness, he begins to wonder if the truth is worth the chaos it will unleash. His actions, once driven by love and a desire to protect. Will he be able to save Danny without destroying everything else? Or will the pursuit of justice lead to a loss so great that it changes the course of their lives forever?